And we are live again. I think I've done like 5 broadcasts in a row. That's a new Steph record. Because normally I live under a rock. So to do this many live broadcasts, you guys have no idea. So I'm waiting for people to chime in because they weren't expecting stuff to go live right now. So here we go. We got our first person in the house and our first like. Thank you so much. Yay! Briseis, is that right? Briseis? What is up, everybody? Hi, Emily Harris. Hey! So, we got Vanessa K. Hello, Vanessa K. So, again, I am saying hello to, what's up, Jay? To the people coming into the chat because I've been doing them consecutively. People are now like, is she going live today? So, if you haven't gone to your notification bell, subscribe to stuff so you're ready when I go live. What's up, everyone? Dulce? Yes, I'm here today. Hey, Chrissy. Wow, a lot of familiar faces. That's really, really cool. What's up, Tammy? All right. Let's hope that my tripod is sitting in the right spot, right? Okay, so let's see here. You have an important question. All right. Hello, New York City fanatic. All right, and another New York person. Thank you, Diana. I was ranting yesterday. Was it yesterday? Ooh, time is blurry. Yeah, I was ranting yesterday in my live broadcast. And I was like, I don't like me ranting. So I like put it on private. I was like, nope, 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 nope. Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. She just said her name was, okay, so Lululemon Designs. Thank you so much for the 24. This is what's happening when I'm in the super chat. And, oh, Vanessa. Yeah, thank you so much for Vanessa K for supporting the chats with the, I haven't even started yet. Like, I'm all embarrassed and stuff. I don't want to look too thirsty here. I swear I'm getting younger. I know. Denial is not just a river in Egypt. Trust. I'm all about denial here. Okay, guys, so I'm going to go in to how to get in more fat, right? These are impromptu videos. I am slowly kind of pulling away from the keyboard of writing this book because I've sort of put my life on hold to write it. Still not finished. And that's the reason why production value and live broadcasts went down and videos went down, and now I'm going to bring that stuff back up. Oh, is that the Vanessa that's on my Facebook group? Awesome. Thank you. You're a new person on my Facebook group, right, Vanessa? Thank you so much for, so Vanessa, she said Facebook group because I have a keto course Facebook group. So I met with sort of like a manager yesterday who sat down and said, Steph, girl, you are working too hard. She basically gave me a lot of advice. All right, thank you so much, Vanessa. I love the new people on that course page. It's like refreshing. Some of the older ones are just sitting there not doing nothing, and I'm creating a course environment. So Emily's all on the course page as well, and Emily's saying Dulce should join the course page. Yes. Hey, everyone. Is it Ali and Bruce and Tony? What's up? And Michelle from Miami, Florida. Okay, guys, so I have a course page, a keto course page, and I kind of work hard on it. Not gonna lie. I sat down this morning and wrote a whole article on the thyroid. Yes, took me an hour. And Gina not on this Facebook page. And so I do a lot, and I didn't realize I was doing a lot. It's a $15 a month course page, FYI, for those who are interested. And I did a live broadcast there where I do many consultations for 3 hours. What's wrong with me? 3 hours? Okay. And Vanessa, who's the Lululemon Designs, is saying that you should join the course page. It's kind of a lot. Like, I was speaking to a manager yesterday who's like, I just looked at somebody else's keto course and they spend $300 on it. And I was like, they did? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, she's like, have you done a course? Like, I said, I've done a 30-day course. She's like, how much did people pay? And I'm like, $30. She's like, Stephanie. She's like, what? How much content did you put out? I was like, 4 videos a day and written material. She's like, 4 instructional video. I put out recipes, 4 instructional videos about the body, how to get into ketosis, and also written information, text. She's like, for $30, girl, look what this thing I signed up for 300. But that's not why I'm doing this broadcast. So I'm not trying to sound like a used car salesman. I want to go straight into the science because that's what you guys are waiting for. And it's only 6 minutes. Somebody's like, it took Stephanie 25 minutes to get starting on the science, but it'll take less than 15 minutes. Mark's my YouTube. I'm your YouTube wife. What's up, Pamela? What's up, everyone? It's so nice to see some of the regulars. And this is the reason why I take the time to say hello to everyone. So people who want the science, you gotta wait. Keto Princess, you love the science. Okay, great. So I want to show you visually. So Brices says to hit that like button and donate if you feel for it, even though it feels sort of thirsty to do that, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, thyroid talk. Yeah, so I wrote about the thyroid on the course page today, which is quite interesting about people's deficiencies. I'll go more into that with your B complex deficiencies, vitamin D deficiencies, zinc deficiencies, which is a big part of why the thyroid, and then also how cruciferous vegetables or very high in goitrogenic vegetables like kale can block iodine from getting into the thyroid, plus the stress and all this kind of stuff can exacerbate the thyroid hormone. But with that said, before I go into the science, your number 30 like. All right, so we got 72 people in the chat and we got 40 likes. Let's see if we can get it up to at least 70. Can we get up to 70 likes? Because I'm about to hit you with how to get more fat in. Chemo killed your thyroid. I know. Don't even get me started. Best keto advisor on YouTube. I do believe that I am because, you know, I'm kind of really honest. Okay, so 41 likes, yes. Hello, Stephanie, new here, came from a YouTube channel. Videos, okay, awesome, Barbara. So I'm going to show you guys real quick how I get in more fat. I was like, I just got back from the gym. I was like, what a perfect time to show my post-workout. I should have titled it as that. Here's my post-workout fat bump. I think I'll go and change the title after we're done here with this live broadcast. But let me show you. So this is what I typically do. I got my Carrot Gold. So I opened this package this morning so you can see how much I ate for the morning. Yes, hello, Ron. And 101 still trying to, okay. I'm going to open up my calendar for consultations tonight. So people who are wanting the consultation and my calendar's full book, there'll be new dates tonight when I get off the broadcast. I want to see my watch. Boom! Y'all know I'm a big watch person. Ever since I was in high school in the 80s, I love the big watches. So I think I was ahead of my time. Yes. Okay, guys, so let me show you what a post-workout fat bump, how I get more fat in. It's so easy. Let me show you. So I have breakfast, and then I'll do a fat load before I go to the gym, and then I'll do a post-fat load, and then I'll have dinner. Yes, isn't that fabulous? Fabulous, right? Ain't that fabulous? That's just fabulosity. I'm just saying. You like big, you got 100 watches. You guys should see my watch collection. I've got thin ones, I got girly ones, but I got the big ones, right? The big ones go to the gym. All right, so here we go. So what I do is, and I'm going to, maybe I should move this around so you guys can see what I'm doing. Hold on one second. When am I going to sell the hats? I'm still trying to figure out designs and graphics, logo placements, all that kind of stuff. You know, if I'm going to do the dad hat or the flat billed hat, you know, the girls. I've been doing more the dad hat style lately because that's what I did. Like, yo, Steph's been hat wearing since the 80s, okay? I've got pictures of me 25 years ago rocking the dad hat, long time ago. So it's so frustrating a little bit. When I go to the gym, I look at all these young girls, I was like, I wore those hats when you were in diapers. I did. I'm not following your trend, you're following mine. All right, I'm just being silly. Okay, so here we go. So I got my water here. And I'm going to point down the camera and show you guys how I get more fat in. And then I'm going to take your guys' questions. And I'm going to bounce because people are waiting for me to open up my calendar. Yes, so I've got Himalayan salt here. Yes. And people keep talking about Celtic salt. You can do your Celtic salt if you don't want to do Himalayan salt. And I've got my butter. So what I typically do is this. So you guys, I just want you to watch. You've been watching my videos for a year, and my son just showed me how to comment on You're so funny. That is hilarious. Okay, being silly, but so true. Yes, 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 Angie. Okay, so I'll just take a slab of butter or two, right? So this is about a tablespoon worth of butter. See that? And then I'll just take a little bit of this is unsalted because I don't like salted Kerrygold. It tastes like I'm eating a salt rock. Nasty. So I just get the unsalted one, which they say is more fresh because it's unsalted, because salt is a preservative. And I will take some of my little Himalayan and I'll just do a little dash. Ooh, that was almost too much, right? And I'll just put that mother sucker in my mouth. You're watching me eat straight butter. Hold on. And I'm wiping salt everywhere. I mean butter. My hands are always greasy because I'm eating with my hands. So ghee is great, Barbara. It's just clarified. It's cooked longer. So I'll just, I could just point the camera back up. Hold on. Let me get a towel because my hands are really, really greasy right now. Hold on one sec, guys and girls. Got my chicken drummies in my little oven. Okay, so okay, let me turn this back up. Somebody's asking, I don't like the salted butter. This stuff is nasty. When you do the unsalted and add a little Himalayan or Celtic salt, bomb. All day, every day. And because butter is a long chain fat, that the entire time that my body needs the gallbladder with the bile salts to start, and the peptides and the enzymes start breaking down the fat in the stomach with the hydrochloric acid, I'm not hungry because long chain fats, which it has a little bit of MCTs, which is medium chain triglycerides. So LCTs, long chain triglycerides, take longer to digest. So post workout, boom, in the mouth, good to go. And then I could just go on with my day. I don't have to sit there and obsess about how starving I am because I'm a carb burner. So I think I'll have some more fat. Just to show you guys. Right? I put a little boop on it. I don't like that much salt put on it. This is my post-workout. Now, I eat so much butter. I don't have a sensitivity to it. That it just reminds me of cream cheese because it's pretty much the same at this point. When I eat my food, it feels boring without a lot of fat on it. It feels dry. So if I'm at a restaurant and I have like asparagus with salmon, I'm like, where's the fat? You don't have butter? Give me olive oil. I just need to drench it with fat. This is butter porn. That's right. Yeah. I just say, because every time I say a word, they do demonetize the video. I keep forgetting to not say certain words. Okay. So, that's how you get more fat in. Simple. And if I don't want to do butter, I can do olive oil. So I got this sample from this, when I went to the Paleo Effects. There was a company of olive oil, because we discussed olive oil and how like the quality of it degrades quite quickly. And this is called Casandrinos. If you check out if you want to do a screenshot. I've tasted a lot of different types of olive oil, but this stuff was really, really good. And this is just a sample. I'm not working with them. I just say what tastes good. But I also use olive oil, avocado oil. I have cooked with avocado oil before because somebody had asked that question. So let me just put all the stuff back in the kitchen, and I'm going to get to your guys' questions. Hold on a minute. Okay, guys, I'm heating up some of my chicken drummies right now. So that's what I'm doing right now. If you hear that bell go off, then you know that I'm heating up my chicken drums. Okay, I'm gonna get to your guys' question. So let me lift this tripod so I can see you guys a little bit more. Okay. So essentially, you lick the plate. I lick the plate too, Jay. I don't think that fat, Pamela, is going to help you pass a stone more. Katrina's explaining it's hard to find a good butter. $12 or $15 a pack. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't know where you live. So I'll have like a small drum, like 2 small, or 1 small or 1 medium, or I'll have 1 big drum in 1 meal, which puts me around 14 to 17 grams of total protein. Ghee is great, yes. So we got 101 people in this chat, and we only got 65 likes. So can we get up, what's up, Saptira? Can we get up the like value, right? Let's get up the like value. I think, Gina, people are like, what keto spices? I mean, obviously you don't want spices with glyphosate and pesticides on it, so you want to do organic spices. And you also, David's like, hit that like button. From London. All right. So, you just have to be careful. Some of the spices are nightshades. You have to be careful, unfortunately, for like black pepper. This is if you have histamine issues, noticeable histamine issues or thyroid issues. You want to be careful for peppers and black pepper and things of that nature. Septira's like, hit that like button. Boom. We got 81 people. We know 105 and only 81 likes. I always keep thinking it must be new people who've never seen me before who are waiting for me to spew the science. I just ate 2 tablespoons of butter in the mouth and you didn't even see me flinch. Can we make butter popsicles? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can use cinnamon, you can use cacao butter, not raw cacao. You can use a little bit of stevia, and coconut oil works as a great binder to solidify it. And that's a great popsicle to make because you don't actually taste butter anymore, you taste flavor, which is what a lot of people don't realize. Ananda says, like up this broadcast because we're still sitting at 84 likes. We must have something like 20-something people like, okay, what's up with this girl? You lost muscle. So you have to contextualize if you lost muscle doing keto and what you were doing, Mach252. Why do some women have cellulite on their arms and how does this happen? It's from estrogen dominance. It's from toxins within the lymphatic system. It's from fibrous bands within the muscle fascia that get stiffened through poor diet, poor sleep. You're not breaking up the fascia. So, massage is really good for the body because it helps the lymphatic system start to move. Because what you guys don't understand is that we sit in C shapes like this. I see a lot of people with pronated shoulders and they don't get enough circulation going on within their body and within the lymphatic system. And so people start developing weird hiccups like sludgy gallbladders. But it really, the big problem is like, we have fat, especially with women. So we have more estrogen. So unfortunately, you have to cater it down or kind of like put it down to the fact that you're very estrogen dominant. So you're having fat like on your thighs when you don't have enough fat to lean muscle ratio. You're deconditioned. So let's say if you're deconditioned and, excuse me, you're estrogen dominant. Let me get some water here. you're estrogen dominant and you have poor circulation, and now the fascia has stiffened like a rock. So the estrogen dominant fat begins to push through that fascia. And that's why you see things like fascia blasters, where you're like literally trying to break through these fibrous bands in the muscle. But the problem is you're still dealing with the dominance of estrogen, so you've got to address both, right? You've got to address the dominance of estrogen, and that comes from, as you see in my live broadcast, many different things can create estrogen dominance. So you can't just fascia blast. You can't just blast and break down, or do foam roller and break down the cellulite here. You've also got to work with the dominance and the lymphatic system, right? And you have to be able to clear out toxins so you can actually break down the fascia and begin to take away the toxins and take down the estrogen dominance, so your lean muscle to fat ratio can be more balanced to then get rid of the cellulite. And you can get rid of cellulite, but you have to really, 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 really work hard on balancing the three estrogens, progesterone, and testosterone. You have to balance them. They have to be completely balanced. And so all those silly things that seem silly, like the diaphragmatic breathing, the getting your stress down, because we don't diaphragmatic breathe. So your stress is up here, which makes your central nervous system really overstimulated, which then spikes the cortisol, which then the cortisol is robbing from pregnenolone and DHEA, and then it makes the balance of your estrogen dominate. And then it's so much easier to start developing estrogen in the backs of the arms. Women will start to notice it on the backs of the arms, on the backs of their legs, even the front of their legs, on their stomach, because of the toxins, the super tight fibrous bands, the fascia. So I just wanted to mention that, because women really want to know, how can you get rid of cellulite? There are these expensive surgical procedures where they literally, it's kind of dangerous. They take a knife and they will go under the skin and circle around and break up the fibrous bands that are locked and stuck like hard chewing gum. And then they'll go, and it costs thousands of dollars to do this. And that's not safe to do that, right? You can create infections, you can cut through the wrong parts of your body. So it's a dangerous thing to do. It's just better to balance your estrogen, get rid of the toxins, have your liver, colon, and kidneys function, detoxify, methylate, and then blast or foam roll and break through the fascia. And then the cellulite goes away, like that. Okay, so why not raw cacao? Because raw cacao has mold on it, and it has caffeine. I mean, Pamela, it's like ABC. Like 1 + 1 is 2. Boom, done. All right. High cortisol is a big culprit. Yes. High cortisol creates a robbing of your sex hormone tree that makes your sex hormones and balance your sex hormones. So it's called pregnenolone steal. And this is a big reason why you'll see with men look like they're more and more deflated. I see so many men in their 30s are already talking about taking certain exogenous things. I can't say the words because they strike your channel for just saying normal stuff. Men start taking things on a lower level to then raise their testosterone levels, and that puts a lot of strain on your kidneys. It's pretty toxic. It's very, very dangerous to mess with mother nature. So it's the same thing with women trying to take contraceptive pills. It's so much better to just balance your hormones. OBGYNs will throw at you, contraceptive pills and all types of things rather to deal with acne. And this is so dangerous because you're having synthetic estrogen dock onto the estrogen receptors, and then now your hormones are really wonky, and that's why women see weight gain when they're taking contraceptive pills and all this kind of stuff. So let me get to some of these questions here. Excruciating, I agree. Keto princess, spit or swallow? Okay, you gotta go. Bye-bye. Okay, let's see here. Gaining fat, I'm guessing it's the sleep meal timing. I can't still. No. So, Pedro, weight gain is really coming from the fact that you're not regulating your insulin. And you're probably not, it's the same stuff every live broadcast. If you don't sleep well, you've got to know the difference between 4 hours of light sleep, 2 hours of REM sleep, 2 hours of deep sleep, to then have your body. Because what you don't understand, the first half of your sleep is your body, right? So that's why certain levels of your sleep, you're so much, there's timing involved with how much deep sleep, how much light sleep, and how much REM sleep, right? So you want to go into deep sleep and pop out so you don't like get eaten. And you want to repair in those deep sleep zones. And if you're not hitting long enough deep sleep, you're not repairing. If your light sleep is 7 hours long, how long was your deep sleep? So Pedro, it has nothing to do with calories. It has everything to do with, are you metabolically inflexible? Are you broken? Or are you metabolically flexible? And that's the problem. People keep talking about calories. And then they'll go to the gym and do 1,000,000 hours of cardio and just look flabby, deflated, and the hormones get jacked. So how do you keep all that information in your pretty little head? Because I talk about it every day, all day, every day. And if I can't keep it in my head, there is something wrong with me. Repetition is sometimes the best way to learn. If you just keep talking about that subject, which is the body, which you guys, I like going into story time because it takes me away from keto for a minute. But like, here we go. Sakara says, if a glucose spike due to, okay, you're saying it kind of stress, but if a glucose spike due to stress knocks you out of keto, so what is keto? Because you probably weren't really keto if you got knocked out. Will you return when glucose drops? So, Sakari, it's not about if you're out of keto or in keto. It's the viability of the ketones that you're making. So, when you are highly ketotic, like I am, and have been doing this for years, your body, instead of wanting to go and digress to glucose and go through the whole gluconeogenesis biological process, because it's trying to restore your glycogen and trying to get your glucose back up so your brain can survive. The point is that it will digress to that mode which it's always known. So when you become ketotic, right, which is a lot of work, you've got to do a lot of stuff to balance and become in a homeostatic balance or in homeostasis. You're not here, but you're in homeostasis. When you are consistently and chronically in this balance, this homeostasis, that's when, if your blood, I promise you, if I go outside and almost get hit by a car, my blood sugar is probably going to shoot over 100 like that. But the thing is, it'll drop, and my body will use that glucose because I'm going to need to run real fast, right? Because ketones don't make you run real fast, like not from a speeding car. So then I'm going to need that glucose as a shot of octane gasoline to run real fast. And then when my glucose goes back to baseline, then the ketones begin to be used again. And that's what happens when you have a spike of glucose. But if you're just stressed, then you're not ketotic, because being ketotic means managing your stress and managing it very well. So I kind of noticed myself that if I get annoyed or agitated, I will climax in my stress, and then I will begin to slowly drop because I'm starting to intellectualize the situation as not worth it. Boom, goes down the glucose. And some people can't. They just stay in this agitated zone for so long, and then that's why their glucose has become unstable, or a big part of it. How to get into optimal ketosis. Well, Gina TU, that's a book. That's not like 2 sentences. It's literally, go watch all these videos. I'm explaining it, because if I go into explaining how do you get into ketosis at length, people will be like, she's repeating herself. You guys might go, yeah, yeah, yeah. Explain how you get into ketosis. And then everyone's like, this is taking so long. She's not answering my other question about ox bile salt or something. Oh, what did Jared asked about potassium? Where I missed it. I noticed that all the others stay drinking coffee all day and night. Who are the others? Energy, energy. So yesterday, I did a broadcast. Hey, Steph, what do you think of the carnivore diet? Tom, I did a live broadcast, but I'll explain it very quickly because when I did a video about the carnivore diet saying no, can I stay in keto? Can I stay keto adapted if I'm only eating eggs? No, you probably get really sick. Yeah, the whites of the eggs are allergenic. You probably get really sick. Really, really sick. Probably shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do that. All right. Chicken, yes. So the carnivore diet, what I said in my video, and I really want to explain this more clearly, right? Because people don't understand. They're like, oh, I did the carnivore diet. It was so successful. I'm like, listen, people. Number one, because one of the things that I said was, people eat too much lean meat on the carnivore diet. And people are like, no, we don't. No, we don't. First of all, fatty ribeye is expensive. You get like, what, 6 ounces, and it's $12, $15. So don't tell me you're eating that 3 times a day. Okay? Okay. Y'all lie out there. People are just so full of like wanting to believe in their own false perceptions of reality. Okay? Grass-fed beef, you gotta be rich. So let's put it this way. Keto is a high-fat diet. I tell people all the time, eat fatty meats. You know what people eat? Chicken breast and tuna. I'm like, why are you eating chicken breast and tuna? They're like, I don't know. Is that okay? I mean, if I get enough butter in, well, and I'm like, no. These meats do not have, and listen to me well. These lean meats do not have conjugate linoleic acid. You don't need CLAs and supplementation when you can get that from nice dark meat. They don't have omega-3s. They don't have zinc. They don't have vitamin D. They do not have niacin, and they don't have like the B6 and B12. They don't have these things. Riboflavin? They don't have a lot of these properties that help heal cells. They just have protein, and chicken is not a great source of protein. So, well, Tom, I just ate some butter on camera, so I definitely believe in butter as a dairy. So the problem is, yes, cold turkey coffee. You guys are asking. So Keisha's like, hit the like button. We got 108 people in the chat and 93 likes. Can we get up the like ratio? So the problem is that people will straight up eat lean meat on a fatty meat diet. So you think that people are eating fatty meats on a general diet where they're saying like, yeah, have some steak. A lot of people don't eat pork. That's a red meat. Why do they not eat pork? Because they're afraid of something, right? Or pigs are very smart. But most people don't think like that. They just think, oh, it's so bad for you. I don't know why, but it's bad for you. Pasture pork, yeah, where they eat natural stuff off the ground, apples. So, oh, thank you for finally getting the like ratio up. Whew. Whew. So, people are not eating the red meat. They're eating other meats, okay? They're eating eggs, and they're eating chicken, and fish, and whitefish, because what? Salmon is expensive. So people are doing exactly, somebody said no pork, no pork. So people are saying doing the carnivore diet, which I've spoke to a lot of people who've done the carnivore diet, and they start listing all their meats. I'm like, no. Don't eat tuna, don't eat chicken. You're going to get a lot of acid problems, right? We're talking uric acid problems. We're going to have problems with our kidneys on all that lean meat because fatty meat is comprised of fat and it has vitamins in it, right? It's got the CLAs in it and the omega-3s in it. Fatty things have like arachidonic acid in it. So people aren't being conscious of what really are the proper protein macros on something like the carnivore diet. Then we have to deal with the fact that people are like, I eat red meat that's 80/20 ground beef and it's got like 20 grams of fat. I'm like, that's really cute. Okay. Because you need to go and hit 200 grams of fat to create enough ketones on the carnivore diet. Now, I get why a lot of people do the carnivore diet because what you guys don't understand, there's a lot of people who eat vegetables who run to the toilet and they don't digest it well. And nobody talks about this. We do not do the bathroom talk. We don't do it. So you don't realize how bad some people can't digest plants because they've developed a sensitivity and a histamine issue and leaky gut, and they have problems breaking down the oxalates and phytates in plants. So, people are bloated. I was talking to an Indian woman. This is very, very interesting, you guys, because I was talking to an Indian woman the other day who, she lives in London half the time. So even though she was in India, she's lived here and there and whatever. Very trendy. It's not, you're not thinking traditional Indian, but is from India, from Delhi. Anyway, I'll talk about pork in a sec. So she said that they're vegetarian, but they eat milk, sour cream, cottage cheese, like cheese, ghee, and I'm like, she goes, we call these foods, what did she say? Heavy or light foods. And I was like, huh? What does that mean? And she just kept saying heavy or light foods. Like, I'm in this kind of mood when I eat. Or like, I'm in this kind of mood. Like, it's heavy or it's light. And then when I began to speak to her more, she didn't realize she was actually describing the symptoms of I cannot digest or I can digest. I was like, do you know that people are having digestive problems? She's like, oh, I never thought about that way. I was like, so is it normal for everybody to go around and fart all day long and their stomach out to here? She's like, well, yeah. I was like, girlfriend, get rid of the sour cream. All right. You having lactose. I'm not even talking about the lactose. They're just having problems breaking down not only the lactose, but also I was like, are they grass fed? She's like, I don't think so. I was like, okay. Not a grass fed cow. That means eating corn. That means that its milk is just a hot mess. And they pump that cow with what? Antibiotics because the udders become infected. Yes. And then they have steroids to produce more milk. So you're getting that. So she had cystic acne. I was like, anyone with acne should run from milk, cheese. Now, butter can be a problem too. This is not a Gucci hat. This is a Stephanie keto hat. Do you not read that? You see that? You see that? That's not Gucci. That says keto. Boom. That's what's up. Who? Pamela, who? Which one should I delete? Tell me. Pamela, just give me the name. Where is there any seasons you can't use? Erica, that's a strange question. Can you make that more? Because Anthony, I think some people get a little obnoxious in the chat, and a lot of people, even though I'm silly and I make it fun and silly, I think some people don't like just constantly blasting the chat with stuff that's kind of annoying to everyone else. So when it gets bad, it's nothing personal, but if it gets annoying, I just kind of like take you out and I put you on a timeout. Not necessarily block you, but I will time you out if you keep blasting the chat. So let's see. I'm not spamming, but to everyone else, it feels like spamming. So don't get triggered. Don't take it personally. It's just pull back sometimes on some of the comments and maybe make it more keto because that's other people want to learn from the questions that are presented. Avocados are high in B6 that help to balance hormones, especially progesterone levels and B12. Yes, Tracy, but you get more B complex from red meat. Straight up, boom. And a lot of people have a latex allergy, so you have to consider that, Tracy. A lot of people do. So if they can't eat avocado, then what? Where are they going to get their B6? Are they going to get it from nutritional yeast? That might not be enough. Plus it's high in carb when you overuse it. I like salt, pepper, garlic. Garlic is fine, but some people with histamine cannot deal with garlic, but most people can who've got histamine intolerance, by my experience. Whoever's off topic. Okay, what about curry on keto? Now, like I said, if you don't react, Keisha, if you don't react, if you don't have a histamine response, if you don't have like that heavy or light feeling, you should feel that you're digesting things well. You shouldn't develop anything that's mucusy. You shouldn't feel itchy, thick in the throat, tired, headachy. And if you don't have these symptoms, you're not bloated and you're able to, your stool is completely normal, then curry is great. It's great. Let me see, how do I know when my hormones are balanced? Well, I hate to use myself as a really good example, but what the frack, okay? You guys know I'm 50 going on 51. So a 50-year-old woman who's turning 51, you should start to see my testosterone drop and my progesterone drop. And so then my estrogen would be dominant. So you'd start to see that I'm beginning to develop a bit of a pooch. I might not look fat, but it'll look really kind of thick around the middle. You might start noticing the cellulite on the back of the arms. I will be very thick, and you guys can see how small I am. Oops, in the hips. Jeez, Lord have mercy, child. So this is what I look like, people, in the thighs. So you will start to notice, a spreading out of the thighs. So you can really see that estrogen body type very easily. Very, You will start to see things like my bosom will start to drop and get bigger and drop, especially being in the 50s. My skin will not be as taut. Around the jowls, on the body, you'll start to see that. So when you're healing from these things, which is what happened to me, I have a lot of fat in the dermis layers of the skin. So my skin, I'm protecting my collagen, right? So when you are starting to age, or you're starting to be estrogen dominant and your testosterone drops, it's hard to build muscle. For a woman, it is so hard when your testosterone, we already have 100 times less testosterone than a man, so, or 10 times less. So when it's so low, you can lift and lift and lift and lift and still be mushy. And a lot of women don't protect their adrenals, and that's where your reproductive hormones will continue to be made in the adrenal glands here, if your ovaries if they've stopped working. So clearly mine still work. But if you are post-menopause, then you need to protect those adrenals like you are training for the Olympics. It is not a joke. I know I'm being silly, but I'm telling you, if you want to balance your hormones, you got to get into that deep REM sleep. Deep sleep, REM sleep, less light sleep. You want to diaphragmatic breathe. You want to know how to lift. You want to have a straight plumb line, right? A straight plumb line is head, shoulder, hip, right? Hip, knee, straight, straight, straight. Not this. Okay, I have 5 pounds of pork belly in the freezer now. Heaven, yes. Especially when you cook it a certain way. When you salt rub it with oil, you can trap the juices in, and it's fabulous. Cook down the gristle. Okay, let's see here. My blood glucose spikes, I assume, after taking a bath. You know what? Al Harvey. Who knows what you're doing? I don't know what time you're taking your bath. I don't know what you were doing before you took your bath. You could be you're clearly spiking your cortisol, which then is going into gluconeogenesis and spiking your blood sugar. But I don't know what your whole day looks like, and that it's not just the bath. What was your name again? It's everything leading up to that bath, and then the bath could be exacerbating the problem. Someone asked about curry. You're from Trinidad. Yes, I said it was okay. Watch the replay. Why I said if it was okay or not okay. Okay, Bruce, where do you get pasture raised pork? uswellnessmeats.com. Boom. Because we live in all different cities. There's different types of, farms, local farms, and stores around. I don't know where you live, so I always say uswellnessmeats.com. They're awesome. Can I eat an avocado every meal? Yeah, you could. Sure. You don't have a latex allergy. Why not? Anna, it really depends if you have hypoglycemia. If you have hypoglycemia, you might want to have 3 main meals, 3 fat bumps on keto. If you have hypoglycemia, if your blood sugar is unstable and it's high and it's low and it's high and it's low, you're going to have to eat more than 3 meals. But for people who are just starting off with keto, 3. So I do not believe in the intermittent fasting because people keep having rebounds of thyroid, adrenal, and low testosterone and high estrogen and I already said adrenal issues, thyroid issues on intermittent fasting. Don't do it. All right. Okay, so Anthony, because you're saying keto ain't Gucci, it's kind of annoying because you grown ass person. So it's time to, time out, bruh. It is time to time out. I hate this when my phone gets hot. It won't work. Hold on, guys. So I keep you in the chat, Anthony, if you could just, chill out. Because you've grown, right? You're not a child. Oh, here we go. My phone gets so hot, guys. Hold on, I'll get to your questions. All right. Anthony Gucci. Deuces, brah. Not trying to be rude, but I'm silly, so I gotta keep it real. Okay, so what does latex have to do with avocados? Because, Michelle, you're saying it like, so what does latex have to do with avocado? Everything, honey, because latex gloves are made from avocado trees. Boop! Now you know what's up. Next. I'm so bad. Okay. What if you have low progesterone? Again, Elisa, what if you do? So can you contextualize your question? Because if you have low progesterone, there's stress involved. There's dietary issues involved. There's deficiencies. There's nutritional deficiencies involved. So are you going to talk about all those other things around what happens when you have low progesterone? Because if you can fix what's around your hormonal issue and go down the rabbit's hole and find out initially what created the imbalance of hormones and sleep and this and that and the third and not connecting to a circadian rhythm, then you'll find the reason why you dropped your progesterone. And then there's strategies to pick it back up, specifically for you. What can I eat? I have a cold. They'll say probably anything that's really healthy. You have to tell me what your symptoms are if you're having a hard time eating food. Is that the problem? Is you feeling nauseated? Okay, it's 9:30, so I guess I better get to bed. Yes, Angie. Good night. Keto life, yes. What's the best way to get rid of bad posture? Oh, to build your core muscles, right? And a lot of people, their posture is off because they sit at a desk like this, everything round. So you want to be in this, and you want to have, what you do is you stand against a wall, right? If you stand against a wall and your shoulders stiff forward, your head will go back. Then you'll know that you're not in a plumb line. So you have to train those muscles, right? So if I'm doing back rows, right? I'm doing back rows and I'm doing push-ups or planks to tighten up that core, right? So you can get everything back into alignment. And if your pelvic area is pronated, supinated, you want to get it right in the middle. So you have to be very conscious of how you sit. So yesterday, can I say yesterday correctly? I'm sitting with this amazing woman who's sort of like managing me. She's awesome. She was sitting like this. She's like, oh, my neck hurts. And I was like, well, look at the way you're sitting. I was sitting like this. Boop. I was like, on a chair, like straight. She's like, you are straight. And I'm like, yeah, because I have so many skateboard injuries. The only way to keep the inflammation down is keep the plumb line straight. Okay, you have noticed large pores. Now, large pores can come from toxins, poor sleep, poor kidney filtration, caffeine, alcohol, you know, any toxins like pesticides or anything, it can come from all of that. I did, Amanda. I put him in timeout, so he's gone. So no salt or pepper. Can you do more resistance band exercises someday? Yes, I will do that. I will do that. I don't feel like doing that. I don't, because like when I get done with the gym, I don't want to do it. But I'll do it. I will do it. I will do it. Yes, I will. Okay. Canned salmon. Just make sure that there's no BPA plastic in the can, and it's a Alaskan salmon. So Steph. Was that a no to salt and pepper, hun? Oh, Erica, no, it's only if you have nightshade problem. You never say no salt, or you're gonna like the potassium to sodium ratios will be like horrible. Your body will try to hold on potassium and hold on to sodium, and your legs start swelling. It's a hot mess. You must have sodium. But with that said, if you don't have a nightshade problem and you don't react to peppers, go for it. You're welcome, Michelle. Okay, Rosemary says good information. Thank you, Keishelle. Can I get a bam? Can I get a bam? Bam! I am a dork. I cannot sit with a whiteboard, which I have one over there, and be like, okay, so let me do this graph on blah, blah, blah. It's like, boring. Okay, let's see here. I measured my blood glucose before having a bath and it was 75. And after the bath, it spiked to 90. Yeah, but you're just telling me numbers. Who cares? I need to know what you're doing all day long, and I think that would be too long on a chat. I need to know if you're a diaphragmatic breather. I don't know anything about your nervous system. I don't know anything about you. I don't know anything about your sleep. And all that stuff matters. Keto is that. Let's see. Lisa says, got it. You have fibroids. Oh. Scent Swag channel? Girl. Keto will heal your fibroids. Keto will shrink them until they're bye-bye forever. Okay? My mother had fibroids. Big ones. Her 4 sisters had fibroids. That's 5 girls. My grandmother had fibroids, and they all had their uterus removed. And when I was a little girl, the OBGYN was like, and you have the propensity to grow fibroids. Oh, no, I don't. Because I changed my diet, because fibroids are tumors, okay? They're benign tumors that love to grow on sugar, because that's what cancer does, which fibroids are benign, which means they're non-cancerous, but that's what fibroids love, is glucose. So often women who have fibroids can shrink their fibroids by using ketones, but they have to do the ketogenic the right way, or they're just going to have to do a low carb, high fat, glycogen dependent diet, but with low carbs that are slow burning, like sweet potato and small amounts of white rice with protein. Echinacea. I don't think anything about echinacea, and I don't believe that it works. Okay, I went to a chiropractor, and she said one leg was a whole inch shorter than the other. Is that due to being, what? I think so, Donna. It's being out of alignment. I mean, that makes sense, for sure. My triceps, although the light's really diffuse, so as the light goes down, I'll look more shredded. But I'm having light this way, so lines don't stick out, so you can't see much. So genetically, for some reason, I don't know, I have triceps. So guys are like, they grab me in the back of the arm, they're like, your triceps are so developed. Because you'll see women with biceps, right? They'll look big, or they'll have shoulders, right? This tattoo is going, even though I love it. This is a cycle of life, but it's going. So if I have deep cuts in the shoulder, typically women will have shoulder cuts, they'll bis, but they'll have no tris. So their arms will look kind of juicy from this position and kind of smaller from this, but mine does not, because the tricep head is, for some reason, I don't know why. It's pretty, you can see it on this arm because the way the light is hitting. Let's see here. Have you noticed bad results of reactions to avocados? You haven't noticed? Okay, that's great. I just read banana also have bad if you have a latex. Yeah, also bananas. Same thing. Bananas and avocados, and they're both fruits. People don't realize that. So thank you, Angie, for spewing out that information because people tend to doubt, like, say what's such a big deal with, like, if you have sensitivity to bananas, you can't put those latex gloves on your hands typically. Any tips for starting keto with no gallbladder? Absolutely, Rosemary. Use ox bile salts. Split up your fats. Make sure that you incorporate the MCTs because your body can. And if you have no problem with butter, then it has MCTs in it. A little bit easier to digest. Split it up. Eat those fats very slowly, especially if it's a protein with fat. And use the ox bile because it's very advantageous, and that's what a lot of people do. They'll use bile salts from a bovine ox. Moo! And then it'll help to scrub down because you make bile salts, but you're just having a hard time getting them into the gullet to help break down those fats to get into the bloodstream. Whiteboard, I know, but I see them. Yesterday, I got a little triggered. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little triggered because this woman, her name is like Fiki or something, and she's like, you bash other people, and I was like, no, people bring up other people in chats all day, every day, and they're like, what do you think of this person? And I'm so transparent. I've told everybody what I thought of everyone. Well, you're not supposed to do that on the internet. You're supposed to lie and say, oh, they're fabulous, fabulous. Well, I don't do that, so. I was explaining how I watch sometimes other health professionals talk about keto the wrong way. And she thought that was bad. I never mentioned a single name. I just said, if you watch these people go live, like when you have to answer questions on Spitfire, you're not looking at a whiteboard reading off answers. When I do a video, I can literally go and just double and triple check something I'm talking about. But when you're talking live, you can't do that. You've just got to know the information or say, I don't know the information. And so when I see people go live talking about keto, I'm like, they don't know. They don't know. And that's what I was saying. She got all triggered. She's like, that's bashing people. And I'm like, no, I'm just honest, and I'm not diplomatic. But what I've chosen to do, you guys, is when names pop up, like, what do you think of this person, this person, this person? Because she's like, oh, you used to say that this person was a charlatan. I said, oh, yes, I did. Because he is. There's a person out there I've called a charlatan, and he is. And he could be the nicest person on the planet. This person could be the most lovely, endearing, wonderful person on the planet. I'm going to say this real quick, guys, and I'll go back to your questions. But I've watched, when I was Googling keto 10 years ago, when I was trying to help my mother who had a galeo at stage 4, there was no information. There was literally nothing. And then all of a sudden, in the last year and a half, there's 5,000 people on the internet talking about keto. Well, how do they have their data? I mean, you have to work with all different types of demographics, all different types of metabolic inflexibility. You have to deal with people who've got no gallbladder. You've got to deal with this type of fat, this type of protein, and this type of carb, and this type of histamine, and you've got to work with all these things. And that's how I've learned, like, oh, you mean you could have perfect numbers on your glucometer and still not be ketotic? I didn't even know that. I had no clue. So I had to learn that through osmosis and constantly work with people to then figure out, oh, you're having an inflammatory reaction to a particular food. You can make the ketones, but you're not using them. And that's why you're tired, because your 79 milligrams per deciliter glucose is too low for the ketones you're not using. So you either are using a large amount of glucose in the 90s as a carb burner, or your ketones are between a 1.8 and a 3.0 and being used. Because the ketones are not being used, you're going to feel really bad, which is why I have people write down their symptoms. So I've got 100 notepads, and I could go grab out a stack of them from all the people that I've been working with, not a year and a half, boo-boo, 10 years. So that's why I become so sanctimonious and self-righteous, and like these people don't know what they're talking about, because I don't lie to the people. Oh, you can get lean if you just do this. I don't do that. No. So I just wanted to clarify that. I don't want to talk about people anymore, because I realize what's most important is what I've learned through the people that I've worked with, rather than what somebody else is doing. And I just want to get that out, say my piece. Whoa, 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 what's going on? What's going on here? Let's see here. So, hi from Croatia. Let me see. I think I have 8 grams of, wait, you're answering somebody else, I think, for lean body mass. Oh, I thought I put you in timeout, baby cakes. My phone is hot. That's why it's being weird. Okay. Okay. I did. Who said that? Pamela, I did. Sometimes people have more than one account. I don't know how they do it. Black seed oil? No. Seed oils are really, really unstable. Let's see. Oh, Natalie, are you saying that your bosom, your breasts have been reduced on keto? Why? Not enough fats? Because you're gluconeogenic. So again, Natalie, I need to know more. I don't know your macros. I don't know what the glucometer says. I don't know if you have any allergies. I don't know if your fats are too low, but you're not ketotic because your body's going into hypergluconeogenesis. Chia seed. No, people, I don't know why. Here's another thing from doing keto for coaching people for 10 years. Chia seeds spike people's blood sugar. I don't know why, but it does. And there's a lot of carbohydrate, but there's a lot of fiber. So for some reason, like avocados don't spike your blood sugar if you don't have a latex allergy. Yes, Leticia on 50 going on 51. What? Boom. Owning it. I am owning the age. Yes. Let's see here. And I say my age all the time, and I sit and pop up in these half tops, or no, sports bras, because I want people to see that I'm not hiding anything. I'm just as exposed as can be. See, my wife found she has one ovary, it's twice the size, as the other. The doctors aren't sure if it's a cyst. Messing with hormones, could that be blocking her keto adapting? Again, Jared, I don't know what your wife is doing. I don't know her, because her stress must be like bananas. I'm not going to lie. That must be a lot of cortisol. Her sleep's probably not deep enough. I'm not drinking enough water. I always do that. She may not be drinking enough water. There's a lot of detail. So sometimes your guys' questions are too open-end without more detail. Thank you, Laura. Have a wonderful evening as well if you're in the U.S. No, Rosemary, bulletproof coffee is, it's literally dangerous to the body. And anybody who wants to go and debate that with me, bring it. Unfortunately, caffeine is stimulating the adrenals to pump out more adrenaline and then cortisol. What does cortisol do in excess? It becomes inflammatory. And it starts to break down, like the person's like, oh, my breasts are sagging. So too much cortisol does really weird things to your hormones, to your sleep cycles, to your amino acids. It does so many different things. It's acidic. It's a heavily sprayed bean because it's a $1 trillion business. And people were protected. They'll write articles saying that it's got a lot of antioxidants in it. When in really though, more than half the antioxidants are killed in the roasting process. So there's not as many antioxidants in the coffee bean as once touted. So it's a diuretic. People lose their vitamin D on it. It messes with the mucus lining of your stomach and intestine. Like, it's a mess. Yeah, Briseis. People don't have a clue. We hear something, we get wrapped up. Like when people tell me keto's so hard and it's like so restrictive, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Restrictive from garbage? What? Okay, so you can't have cookies and you can't have pizza, not these wheat products. You can't have sugars, you can't do your like Rockstar drinks and your coffee, all the stuff that's killing you. But you can eat whole foods and vegetables and fat and pastured lovely protein. There are people in countries that only get 4 choices of food, and we have 10,000 choices of food, and we still feel like we're being restricted because we can't have traditional ice cream. But you can make a keto ice cream out of coconut milk. I can make cookies out of coconut flour and flax. I can make muffins Well, shite. I can make a pizza. So how is it? I make pancakes. I got videos of me making pancakes. I'm drooling. Okay, let's see here. I'm ranting. Okay, had kidney issues from too much protein. Thank you, Alicia. Because people are like, the carnivore diet doesn't do anything to to your kidneys. I'm like, you are in super denial. I think there's that guy that has been this once was doctor. I think he posted his. I'm not sure about this, but I think he posted his health labs or results, and he's having health issues. I don't know. So all I know is that the people that I've worked with who went from the carnivore diet to me suffered greatly on the carnivore diet. Every one of them. You can bulletproof tea or herbal tea, just fat in a tea. That's all you need to do. You can bulletproof water. Glucose is 92, ketones are 1.0. John, you're not in ketosis. Sorry. At least that your glucose isn't over 100. But stress, poor sleep, your macros might be off. I'm trying to say macros and might be off at the same time, and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I just mentioned it. John, your macros are off. You're probably not. I mean, I don't know you, right? I don't know you. Are you getting enough REM? Are you getting deep sleep? Are your macros on point? Are you eating foods? Do you have any testosterone issues, like fatty liver, kidney? I don't know, sensitivities to foods. Like, are you doing pasture, free range? I don't know. Okay, how do people get deep sleep if you can't sleep before 11? Oh, Pedro, that's easy. You can sleep before 11. You just have to like put a candlelight on. Yeah, diaphragmatic breathe, candlelight. Don't do anything but sit there and meditate. Trust me, you will fall asleep. It might take a couple weeks, but it'll happen. Mm-hmm. No screens, no screen time, no Netflix, just like candlelight and a dark room with nothing to do. After about maybe even a week, you're like, I'm so bored. My brain's like, I just want to sleep. Oh, do you have the same energy all day long? Bruce, all day, every day. Check out every video I've ever done. Have you ever seen me like, oh, more exercise. Okay, let's see. How much REM should we be getting? Like just a little under 2 hours. Yep. Start 5 minutes and working your way up to over an hour towards the morning. Start 5 minutes, gets longer and longer as the morning progresses. Stevia for a sweetener. Yes, as long as you don't have a histamine reaction to it. Oh, you're a late worker. That's why. Best time to eat breakfast. 30 minutes post wake up. Are eggs bad? They're not bad, but a lot of people develop egg allergies. It's a high histamine food because the white is designed to protect the fetus. You know when people sing songs like, their whole life, and then you get like, like Aretha Franklin singing Respect, and then she's singing, no, monk fruit is pure sugar. Erythritol is a sugar alcohol, it's just sugar. You guys need to stay away from those things because they are not ketotic. I can't get my period back. I lost my periods due to the wrong application of keto. Oh. So, Harvey, I don't know what your macros are. I don't know what your fat is. I don't know if you have a gallbladder issue. I don't know what your sleep is. But I promise you, all those things I just listed are probably your problem. You can't get your stress down. So, your cortisol is probably really, really high. Your fats aren't probably high enough. And your glucose at 77 milligrams per deciliter probably means that you are hypoglycemic and not ketotic, and that's just keeping the menstrual cycle away due to pregnenolone steal. Stevie's okay. I feel bad when we are taking you away from your dinner. I know. Thank you, Gina. So I think I'm going to stop with the questions and do a little story time because I want to not be sounding like a crazy person in live broadcast because I think that I do sound a little bit crazy. So Leticia, keto is not about calories. I don't think that you're losing. I don't think you're losing any fat on keto. I think you're losing muscle, and that's probably the next broadcast I want to do is the myth of the weight loss. Oh, I did keto and lost 60 pounds. Well, 20 of it was water, 8 of it was muscle, and then the rest was like not only muscle but your skin and the collagen, yeah, your reproductive system. Right? But the scale says that you lost 30 pounds, 60 pounds, Now your skin is sagging, and your boobs are sagging. Testosterone drops, and you're more tired, and your hair starts falling out. Nobody talks about that kind of stuff. Yes, Anna, I keep it real. Cinnamon is good as long as you don't have a histamine issue. And Ceylon is better than cassia because too much cassia can irritate your liver. You lost 47 pounds of fat with tests done. What tests? What was your muscle? Lean muscle. What body fat? So I don't like when people just go, I lost this with tests done. But you're not proving anything. You're saying something. Skateboard story. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys. I'm always doubtful of people. I lost 47 pounds. How much of it was lean muscle? If you say I did well, you know? And no, not trying to get on you, Leticia. Crash story. Okay. Anna, educate yourself about the body, not about keto. I always feel that people should learn more about the body, learn more about what cortisol does, know more about LDL small particles, the triglyceride to cholesterol, no, the triglyceride to HDL ratios, C-reactive protein, the inflammatory markers in the body, stool, parasites, infections, SIBO, because when you learn about these things and then you start to understand the science of keto, then you understand the science of keto or the biology of keto or being ketotic can help heal all of this autoimmunity and inflammation in the body. And I think that's the only way, because you can't tell somebody to eat a bunch of butter because they're going to, I'm gonna have a heart attack. What are your numbers? Oh, I want to see your numbers. I'm like, look at me. Right? You want to see my driver's license? I will show you my driver's license without like my address and all that kind of stuff and my number, to prove that I'm 50. I now have my face up all in the camera, people. You know? You see me? That's why I wear this sports bra all the time. Do I look tired? Do I have lost vigor? Do I look depressed? Is anything sagging? Because that's what gluconeogenesis does to you. Get your hormones out of whack. And this is why she's the expert. Thank you. Your dad what? Your dad believes in water fasting. What does water fasting do? It puts your body into starvation mode because your body thinks it's starving. You just have to use logics, right? Your body thinks it's starving. It's not getting any glucose. It's not getting any ketones. You might make ketones, but it takes a while for your body to have the enzymes to learn how to break it down and use it. You got to sleep well on it. And when you're not eating anything, the body's like, help me, help me. So you don't have enough stored glycogen because you haven't eaten any carbohydrates. You're not using ketones, so you start to break down your body, become hypercatabolic, and then hurt yourself, creating metabolic inflexibility, metabolic derangement. Yeah? So this is the only reason I sit and wear these these sports bras and all this kind of stuff is to prove to you guys that you see what keto is doing for Steph. Go back all the years on those horrific videos that are just under this brown skin are embarrassing me beyond measure. I'm like, energy, 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 which I did. And it was, it was just kind of like goofy. Yes, they're freckles. They are freckles, people. They're freckles. They're not liver patches. I have them on my arm too. I don't know if you guys can see. Can you see freckles on the arm? Okay. So I've got that Eurocentricity going up on in there. Wait, this one, this shoulder, which I don't like the tattoo anymore. This shoulder has more freckles. So I got freckles all the way down on my arms. Freckles on my face, freckles on my arms, and I've always had them. They're just a little bit more than they used to be. Let's see. Oh yeah, I had them. Oh yeah, Rosie, I had them. I had the freckles. But with the old videos, I'm filming with the iPad. You can't see anything. This is like HD. So I don't know what you're talking about, baby cakes. I've always had freckles. I can pull out old pictures of me with freckles. Boop! see. I feel awesome. Lose weight. No more insulin resistance. Awesome, 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 awesome. Wow, she's jealous? Michelle, what do you mean? Who's jealous? People try to she didn't have freckles before. So, what does that mean? What you trying to say? Okay, let's see here. You're a dear. Thank you, Ellen. What can you do for liver patches and sunspots on the face? So, Tom, I mean, you can try to help your detoxification pathways. That might minimize some of the liver patches that you're getting. But discoloration can be, I think, I think keto could help to some varying degree, but I don't know if it'll actually get rid of liver spots on the hands, chest, face. See, hi from Huntsville, Alabama. Love your knowledge and attitude. I've told my friends and family about you and for them to check you out. Thank you. All the newer, non-goofy videos. I'm still goofy, Richard. I think back in the day, I didn't understand the internet. It was kind of like I felt goofy when I did the videos, so I was just being me. I really, these videos go back. But now I'm kind of like, I've done so many videos, I kind of got the over it side of me pops out. You have them too. Freckled people are special too. I'm like, yes. I'm trying to show you. I've always had freckles on my body as long as I've ever lived. And skin is on point. Boop! Let's play connect the dots. Okay. You're hoping it wasn't keto? That keto made? That gave me freckles? No. I've had them my entire life. Patches, discoloration tend to be from high blood sugar, unfortunately. And if you can get your liver and kidneys to detoxify properly, I think you can minimize the extreme effects of skin discoloration, but without other types of things that help to alleviate the, there's certain types of I don't know, you go to a, whatchamacallit, people who are skin specialists at spas to help minimize the superficial discoloration. But the best thing you can do is help your liver and kidney colon detoxification. The blood sugar always stays between 80 to 90. Is that normal? What are your ketones? So otherwise, I don't know what's going on. Thank you, Gina. Let's see here. Finally caught it live. Oh, you finally caught it. Awesome, Jessica Ray. I mean, I want to look like that now. Oh, you want to look like what? You guys may make comments, a few comments back. As soon as I say, welcome to the broadcast, Jessica, then I forget what was said like 2 comments ago. I want to build muscle now. Recommendations. Again, I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know if you have any estrogen dominance. I don't know if you are sleeping well, because that's when your body releases things. And I can't even say these words because I would say growth, and testosterone and estrogen progesterone balance when you sleep well the first half asleep. How long does it take to deplete glycogen? A day. A day of not eating carbs. Okay. Jay, dermatologist. No. It wasn't a dermatologist. They're called... when you go to a spa. When you go to a spa and you talk to a skin specialist who's working on the skin with all these like peels and this and that and the third, those things can help superficially. The dermatologist will just give you a bunch of chemicals. Put on some cortisone cream. Take retin-A and take these pills that are really bad. Esthetician, thank you. I get like brain locked when I hear so many comments coming in. My brain goes burp, 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 burp. Okay, story time. So I want you guys to give me. Oh man, I just use up all my evenings. Every time I go to the store, I hear your voice. Oh, okay, that's good, Alan. What do you guys want me? What part of my life is it important to me to 1,400 calories? First of all, you need to get your calories over 2,000. Done. 200 grams of fat is 1,800 calories. So 1,400 is for like a 9-year-old child. If you don't want to develop a thyroid disorder and have your hair fall out and you can't poop, don't eat 1,400 calories. Sponsored. Do you guys want to hear a sponsored story? I got a lot of crazy stories, so I don't know. So Keisha wants to know an ideal date for me, which was asked before. Yes, I have hobbies. As you can see, I am a photographer of 20-something odd years. These are all my pictures. And I used to be a pro skater, so Steph's got a lot of hobbies. Okay, so ideal date when I was first sponsored. Which one? Breakup story? Oh, no. We got to graduate into that. Because I have no problem saying it one-on-one with somebody I know, but on the internet? Okay, yes. So, which one? Because I got only one date and the rest like 4 spots. So, skateboard story or ideal date? Mandy, sponsored. Skating, date. Ideal date. Date. Skating, skateboard. Okay, how about I do both and I try to keep them really short. Put in the number 1 if you want me to do both but short story. Put in the number 2 if you just want me to do one story. So you guys put in number 1 if you want me to do both short. Good night, Elisa. Put in number 2 if you want to do just one. Okay, so 1 is winning out clearly now. It was starting off 1, 2, and it was like 1. Okay, you guys who want me to do just one story, I will do both very short. Okay, so it doesn't become draining to listen to me babble on about these types of things. Gary and Tom, I will keep it short. So I will start with the skateboard story because that seemed to be the one that most people wanted to hear, Derby Park. So I am in a Pal Peralta video called Future Primitive where I am doing a boneless, yes, I am in Future Primitive, one of the Bones Brigade videos. Yes, indeed. I wonder if I should talk about the first time I was in Bones video. So, you guys, if you guys go check out the Bones Brigade Future Primitive, I'm doing a boneless at a dome boneless and a Burt slide at Derby Park in Santa Cruz, California. Okay, so when I first got sponsored, I'll explain the story very quick because I have such crazy stories. Oh, you guys don't know. So the reason why I even got into skateboarding because my friend who lived in an apartment complex found this chewed up board. Hold on. It had, use a skateboard as an example, right? So, this is the nose. We call it the nose. This is the tail. And the nose had been chewed down to the rivets, to the trucks. This is a truck. And it was a piece of junk. But me and my crazy sport mentality was like, let me borrow it. I want to borrow. I went friggin', you have to get, I will, I promise, Gina. I literally went, who was your influence in skating since there wasn't, Tony Hawk, straight up, Tony. You guys want to hear this story when I first met Tony Hawk? No. Okay. I met Tony Hawk when he was 16. Okay. Okay, I'll do the sponsored story. I'll talk about Tony Hawk another day. Carabeth, yeah. Cara Beth Burnside, she was out of the picture when I started skateboarding. She popped in, and people really pitted us against each other. I have a really amazing Cara Beth Burnside story, but that's for another day. So Cara Beth was this amazing skateboarder at the time because we didn't have spots to skate. That's why girls today are better, because you're 5 years old going to the same skate park for 20, 15 years, you're going to get good. But for me, there wasn't anything. You had to go to this dude's backyard, that would go down. You go this ramp, and that's another complete different transition. You gank yourself. This one has splinters and nails coming out, no coping, and it was so dangerous back then. But I borrowed that skateboard for 2 weeks from my friend. And I was obsessed. Obsessed. All I wanted was a skateboard. So I was 16. And I was turning 17 soon. And my mother asked me, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, a skateboard. She said, no. And I was like, my mother said, I will buy you anything you want for your 17th birthday as long as I can afford it. I was like, I want a skateboard. She's like, no. I was like, you said I could have anything I want that was affordable. And she goes, I don't care. Don't you want a dress? I go, no, I don't want a dress. I want a skateboard. And she said, and she said, please, Stephanie. And I was like, that's what I want, Mom. That's what I want. She goes, but you're turning into a woman. And I was like, that's what I want. And she goes, fine. So we heard about a shop called Gremic in Los Gatos, California. And it was Greg and Mike, two brothers, put their names together and created a shop called Gremic. So we go to the shop, and I go there, and the owner was there, and had I just turned 17 then? It was still 16, going on 17 when I chose the board, I think. And he was like 27 or something like that, 27, 28. And I remember, Mike, Carol, like I can name them all. You name them, I know them from the past. So, okay. So I remember when I walked in, there was a sign that said, don't be afraid to ask stupid questions. And literally to this day, I remember that because I knew nothing about skateboarding. I was trying to find out about skateboards before I went to the shop so I wouldn't look like an idiot. But skateboarding was not popular in the 80s. So I was like, this is in 1984. So I go, what kind of board should I get? And I was very shy back then. I was like, I don't know. And he's like, don't worry. This guy, Mike, he was like, don't worry. He goes, how about a Tony Hawk board? How about a Hawk board? I didn't know who Tony Hawk was. And I was like, okay. So like, ironically, I wish I still had that board. Oh, so it was like the Hawk face board in black. And I get this board, and it's got like red rails on it and big, like soft wheels. And that was my first skateboard. So then he said, well, we skate after work every day. So I had to take the bus like an hour just to get to where these guys were, and we went skating. And I didn't really skate with Mike. I skated with two of his employees. And they were like, damn, this girl can keep up with us. I fracked up my legs so bad keeping up with these guys. Like, I have stories on top of stories just on that. So Mike was like, you are so good. I want to sponsor you. I was like, really? I was like, so he gave me a shirt, and it said, Team Gremic. They only gave me one. So I did like the 80s cut of it. Like, what you would do is you would cut the shirt around the bottom, and there'd be like a string hanging. Like, you'd cut off the bottom, and then there'd be this, you'd leave a little string, and I would like roll up the sleeves 80s style, and I was like wearing that to high school. And I was like, yo, Team Gremic, what up? And with that, I was able to enter CASTLE, which is the California Amateur Skateboard League, which Tony Hawk, whose father died, I believe, of skin cancer, he ran the California Amateur Skateboard League. And that's when I started traveling all around California, doing skateboard competitions based on that first sponsor. And from that, I had Gullwing as a sponsor. I had Thunder, Indy, Venture, Speed Wheels. I was sponsored by Santa Cruz. Uh, Santa Cruz. Rector pads, Billabong, Swatch, Converse, Etnies, Deathbox, which turned into Flip, which that's a flip board. Is there more? Oh, and what's that city in Spain? It's called... What's the main city in Spain? What's the main city in Spain? People? Ketones, where are you? Main city in Spain? You guys, main city. No, that's not Barcelona, it's the second city. Madrid. Thank you. I was sponsored by Madrid as well for a short time. They actually offered me a pro model, and I was like, I'm not good enough. I only want to go pro. I want to have my own Stephanie model because you get a skateboard with your name on it, when I'm good enough. But then I broke my knee before I can get a pro model. So that's the skateboard story. That's when I first got sponsored. And then from there, you guys, I have a million questions. A million stories. I have a story for when I first went to Europe that will blow the socks off your feet. But I will wait for that. Now, these are all safe stories. Now, Christian Hosoi. I got a Christian Hosoi story. You guys, I have stories. When I was my last year in high school, this girl had custom Thrasher shirts. And it'd say Thrasher, and the Thrasher's a skateboard mag. And it was one of the main skateboard companies. And I was like, she doesn't skate, she's a Betty. Because we would call girls who didn't skate, would sit on the sidelines, Betties. That's what you call surfer girls who don't surf. And I was like, she's a Betty. She doesn't skate. Look at her. This girl doesn't skate. I skate. Why does she have a custom Thrasher shirt? So one day I asked her, I was like, how do you have a custom Thrasher shirt? She goes, my boyfriend. So here we are, like 16, 17, and her boyfriend is 30. His name was Quimby. I think if you Google Quimby, you will see a picture of him. He put on a competition in California called the Sacto competition. And this is a long story. I'll save it. But the point is that the first day, the day that I got there, we went to go skate spot. I was sitting in the back seat of a car with Hosoi and his dad. And he called his dad bro. So if you guys go Google that, you see that I'm not pulling feathers out of my bum. He called his dad bro. His dad. And that's when I first met Christian. I didn't know who he was. Christian was a guy who was like half Japanese and Hawaiian. And he was short, but he was like the sex god. He stuck his chest out. He had like, at one point he had a hair weave. And he, like this in the 80s when you didn't have weaves, he would go and skate and his hair would fly. And he would do these Christian airs, right? Y'all remember the Christian air, right? All right, so Quimby. His name was Quimby. I can't believe I'm remembering these names, and they're almost like 40 years later. Yeah, Christian air. Yeah. Okay, so he used to do big lofty airs. He would do backside airs with his feet pointed up like that. He was amazing, amazing. I got a story about Mark Gonzalez. Boop! I got a story about the Gons. Y'all, I got stories about all of them. All of them. You name them, I got stories. I got stories about Monty Nolder. You name them, I know them. Okay? Okay, so my ideal date. I'm going to go into this real quick. You know what's so funny is that at Lester Kasai, I got pictures. Yo, one day, you guys, I will pull. This will be really funny because I have a picture of Lester Kasai doing like an eggplant on some object. I got a story. I got a picture of Lester Casad. Yep. And people used to think that I was Lester, and people used to think that I was Adrian Demain because they were both. One was Filipino and one was like Japanese, and they thought that I was because there were no girls. So if I have a helmet on, right? If I could put on my helmet and like a T-shirt, people thought I was a boy. Okay, so put that in my book. I can't. It's got to be more of a memoir. I actually think that my career as, because I am 50, my career as, I'm writing, well, you will buy that book. I've actually been approached to have a script about, because you guys don't know the stories. You don't know the stories that I went through as a girl where nobody skated as a girl in the 80s. It was like Carabeth, Lori Rigsby, there was nobody. Yeah, Adrian Demain. People thought I was Adrian, yeah, right? Yo, people thought I was Adrian Demain all day long. Okay, so no, look, I traveled, I lived in Europe, things got lost. I feel so bummed that a lot of my skate memorabilia, I've got a bunch of cassette tapes of me skateboarding that I had this girl, and I'm like, I gotta go find this girl who held on to it and see if she still got the tapes, which she probably doesn't. Who's gonna hold on to somebody else's skate tapes from like 30 years ago? But Nike could use or somebody what? Okay, so does anyone still want to hear the ideal date, or are we done? I could be done. I'm an hour and 36 minutes. You guys done? Or did you want another story? Alan, up in San Francisco. Ron Allen. Do you mean Ron Allen? Are you talking about Ron Allen? Let me see. Oh no, you're talking about to someone else. There's a guy named Ron Allen who skates up at SF. Okay, date, ideal date. All right. John Lucero. Yo, I used to live with Danny Way. John Lucero has stayed at my house when I was in high school. I got stories for days. I know them all. Don't believe them? Don't believe me? Ask them. DM them and they'll be like, yo, we remember Steph? Ask them. And Tony Hawk. Boop. Someone was like, I don't believe that you know Tony Hawk. I'm going to the Playboy Mansion and he's going to be there and I'm going to ask him. And so the guy goes up to Tony and goes, do you know who Stephanie is? He goes, Stephanie! Tell Stephanie I said hello. And he's like, you do know Tony. I go, duh. All right. Okay, so let's see here. Ideal date. Date. Danny Way sold off DC shoes. Yeah, so Danny, that's a whole nother story. I lived with Danny when he was 16. Yes, in a house, right, with skaters. Yes. Okay, all right. Matt Hensley. I got stories about Matt Hensley. Street skater, black hair. Yep, NorCal. I got stories for day. 8th Street. What? 8th Street in the house. You guys don't know that Danny Way was first with 8th Street. Yes. Danny stayed with at my house, and then I ended up Mike Ternansky. Mike died in a car accident, right? Right? Does Steph not know her stuff? I know Mike. Gator Mark Rogowski. I got letters from Gator Mark Rogowski. I got them. Yo. Okay. Yes. Yes, and Mike died. He had a Filipino girlfriend, and he died in a car accident. And everyone was just destroyed that Mike died. So, okay, I'm going to go into the ideal date. I just love talking about skateboarding because I'm so tired of keto sometimes. I need to go skate soon, too. But here we go. And he was in Tom Petty's video. So was Carabeth in a video. No, Carabeth was in Free Falling. Okay, thank you. Let's see here. Pedro, you don't even know. I feel like I've lived 4 lives. So people know me as the keto person. I'm like, you don't even know. Like, I was the first African-American pro skateboarder in history. Like, no girls skated back then. You guys don't even know. Like, I lived out of a suitcase for 5 years touring. And it's like it never happened, you know? I lived in Sweden for almost 11 years. People are like, do you speak Swedish? I'm like, jag pratar svenska hela tiden på interneten. Va? That's how I learned Swedish, was touring in Sweden. So there's all these stories. Okay, but I'm going to go to the ideal date. African American? Ew. I'm kidding. Yes, of course. I am African American. I'm black. I'm as black as this. See that? I'm rad. Yes, 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 yes. You can find old pictures of me in Transworld and Thrasher and RAD magazine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. There's no defense. There's no defense. Melanated persons. Well, people always ask me what I am. So I have a lot of like haplogroups in me. Yes, I have a lot of different ethnicities in me. But sometimes to mess people up, instead of saying I mix with this and I mix with that and I mix with that, I just go I'm black. And they're like, but both your parents? And I'm like, yeah, I'm black. And then they're like, but are you totally black? And black people in the US love to say the 5,000 things that they're mixed with. So that I am mixed with stuff, I just say that I'm black, and it messes with people's minds. But you're not mixed with anything. No, I'm black. I'm African. Yeah, I'm from West Africa, Ivory Coast. Can't you tell? Hi. Right, we're from different haplogroups. We are from different. Some maybe originated towards South Africa, but there's a lot of migration. I love studying about the body. I love studying about genealogy. I love the whole like Eve going back and checking out all of the DNA through the mother and the father and the haplogroups and all the migrational patterns. Like India is so mixed up because that was a place, a hub where they were just like mixing, 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 like migrating, moving, this, that, and third. When I went to Egypt, it was so interesting because I would go down into like the Valley of the Tombs, for example. And you go down into these tombs, and it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark. If you guys haven't been to Egypt, yo, straight up, see them pictures? See those pictures? That's me taking them pictures at Egypt in Egypt. Like especially that guy right there. He was like, I was sneaking a picture of him, and he was like, he was turning his head like, she better not be photographing me. And he would turn around and I snatch, 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 and put the phone down. I mean the phone. See, look at technology phone. Put my camera down real quick. Yes, I live in LA. So okay, my ideal date, and I'm gonna be quiet. I would shut up. And you're catching me from Singapore. Awesome. Okay, so I can tell you that I don't know what my ideal date would be. I just know that it would probably involve something active or where you can sit and talk to each other. Because dinner dates, I really don't give a crap at all. I don't care about men with money at all. I'm bored. I live in LA. I have been out to events. I've had sugar daddies approach me and I'm like, get away from me, you are nasty. Fast, run. Okay? So, I can say that being able to talk to someone that if I'm silly, they're silly. Today, often, I'm silly and they're looking at me weird. And it's not that I'm always silly, you guys. I tend to be more silly on live broadcast because I'm constantly getting a lot of comments and it puts me into a silly mood. I am very down to earth and I can be very quiet. So I like one-on-one more than a group. I'm not a person at a party that has to stick out. I don't care. I don't care. When I'm involved in a group, if it was skateboarding, if I go to the gym, I'm so used to guys. I'm not uncomfortable in situations anymore from like touring out of a bag literally for years, coming from being a shy person, that when people are warm and they're like, come here, welcome, you know, come hang out with us. Or, you know, like I said before in the other broadcast, when a person smiles, male or female, I'm like, it's so unusual here in LA that when I see that it's sincere, I always feel like, wow. And the more attractive somebody is, the less they smile. They feel that everybody wants something from them. They're very entitled. People here in this town always feel like if you talk to someone that you don't know, you want something from them. And then they're going to rate you. Who are you? Are you famous? Like, can they get something from you? If they can't get anything from you and you're not attractive and you're saying hello, people will shun each other in this town. And that's why people say LA is a lonely city, because the pressure Well, no, because in LA it's worse. It's like the model, actor, dancer. You take everybody who was told in high school that they were beautiful in Idaho. Oh, you should be an actor, or you should be a model. You're so beautiful. They all end up in the city. They all do. And the way they treat each other is bizarre. LA is very, very superficial in the context of the pressure to be young. I have a friend up in NorCal. I was like, she's driving down to San Diego. I was like, stop in LA and visit me. She's like, oh no. She's like, I feel so fat and ugly. I don't like. We can go out and grab a lunch. She's like, I don't want to sit with you with in a lunch. I was like, I don't want to say her name, but I was like, come on. This is like old friend from high school. I've just been in really, real weird situations that when you're older in this town, that's why they are all go to the plastic surgery, because you are irrelevant. And I know this is worldwide now. You are irrelevant if you're not young, fresh, and have no cellulite on your bum, on your legs. So an ideal date for me. We have a bad rep. Are you here in LA, Ellie? But there's a lot of diversity as well, and there's a lot of creative people, so there are good things. That's why I'm here. Yes, I prefer intimate settings as well. Yes, up here, they don't say good morning here. I mean, my mother lives in Tennessee, and it was very weird when I would go and visit her because she was living here and she moved there. And then I'd walk around the neighborhood. They're like, hello, from across the street. I was like, okay, that's weird because I grew up in California. So, with that said, the ideal date, and then I'm gone. Stuck in LA and cannot leave. I mean, everybody can leave. We live in the States. Come on now. I have been Alan Frost. I have been to poverty. Okay, poverty. Okay, favelas in Brazil. We can leave here if we want to. Everyone here says hello, good morning, and oh, that's awesome, Jessica. Yeah, LA is pretty hardcore. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. And it's like, people are like, nobody's fat here. Everybody's so beautiful. And I was like, no, they're not. I see people all the time that look all like, because, I look at health differently. I'm like, your skin looks jacked. Your posture's horrible. You look unhealthy. You've got rashes going on. So I'll look at that and I'll be like, they don't look so amazing. What are you talking about? Look unhealthy. But my way to look at beauty, as far as it's more an internal to the external health. But I just want to say, you're in Panama. Awesome. LA doesn't suck out, Angie. It really doesn't. I have found the beauty in it, and it's really in the diversity, because I'm diverse. So I get really bored when I'm only around one ethnic group. I really love just everything. I love it. I love it. I just love it. I love it so much. And the weather is on point. Oh, I lived in that cold Sweden, dark, ugh, mm-mm. 11, no, almost 16 years. I lived in Europe. I lived in Amsterdam. I toured. No. The weather here is scrumptious. I could walk around the block and be like, oh, it's so amazing. No, that's not true. Angie, that is not true. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, trust me. No. First of all, I can tell you right now what they have in LA. They have a lot of programs here. That is not true. There are people that go and give out try to get people off into boarding care facilities. There is there used to be a dinner food line down the street. Yeah, down the street. So people would line up and get dinner. For breakfast, there's a church on Sunset that feeds them breakfast. They can also have showers, and they get free clothing. They also can go to the free clinics if they have any health issues. They get vouchers to Ralph's, the supermarket, and to El Pollo Loco, up to $20. Yes, I am not kidding. Okay? Nobody goes hungry in this town. No. There are people that see who are super schizophrenic or super drug addict, almost looking dead on a sidewalk, and there are people that come and try to help them. So we have a horrible system that gets people on the street. I definitely agree. But there are programs, and there are a lot of hard people trying to help people who are so destitute. So I don't know, like, I used to have a dog. So I went to this park remotely close to where I live, and there was this homeless guy who was retarded, and his name was Star. And Star came from Texas because he wanted to come out and see the stars. He loved Paula Abdul, and he'd be like, I love Paula Abdul. And there's a big ass, I said that word again, I'm freaking demonetized. YouTube. He was a big guy, and the sweetest person I've ever met. But he didn't have the mental capacity to get himself into a program. Yeah, Angie, but a lot of these people, they get GR. See, I know about this stuff. They get SSRI. SSRI is $1,000. They would get SSRI, it's $1,000, which is like, are you a little off? You get SSRI, and they would go into a hotel, do drugs for a week, and then eat a bunch of candy. Now, there's GR, and a lot of homeless people go to my gym, and they have gym memberships. They will go. It's $250 a month. I know this stuff. Trust me, because I got Star off the street. Stephanie know this stuff. My mom was a social worker. You know, we're just living in a climate today where it's a capitalist society, and we're not socialists, and there's not enough programs, but a lot of people who end up in the street either have mental issues or they're drug addicts, most of them. And you will see these people high as a kite around LA, or they're schizophrenic, but there are a lot of programs. So yes, there's a lot of homeless people here, but I know for a fact, I got Star into a boarding care facility in a day. I called up, I looked on my phone, I called Social Security. I'm like, here's this lovely man who got his face kicked in the night before because he was sleeping in an alley and these kids partying went and messed with him. I said, how can we get him off the street? They came that day, and he's never been on the street again. So the problem is people don't know the programs, they don't know how to help people. Manzella? Andrews? No, she says that it's a war zone and all this kind of stuff, and there's nothing to help. She said that there was nothing. I think you're talking about the woman that said there was nothing to help people. That's not true. That is definitely not true. There's a lot of programs, and there are a lot of people trying to get these people off the street. It's just a city with 30 million people, so, and people are coming from all over to come to the good weather to be homeless here. There are a lot of programs. There's a lot of programs, and there are, families that end up on the street, all those foreclosures going on, and people ended up on the street. But a lot of people end up in boarding care facilities. You have to be there by 10 o'clock, or else you can't be in, and then people don't want to be under a lot of rules, so they opt to be back on the street because they can get breakfast down the street there. Dinner down the street there, and they can get breakfast over there. And that's what they do, and they get a lot of vouchers. And they get, the coupons for food at the supermarket, I forgot what it's called. Unfortunately, there's a lot of homeless people, because I've spoken to a lot of homeless people who are like, okay, get a job, okay, have to live. There are some that say, I'd rather live on the street. I just rather. Yeah, if they had keto, they probably wouldn't be bipolar. But I'm gonna get off the subject because it's so like, I don't like to talk about this stuff because it's not really me and I'm talking about it. Yeah, it's really high here. My rent for this little place is really expensive. Yes, Angie, that is true, but that's a whole nother story. But with that said, I'm going to go back to a fun subject and then get off. No, it's just room temperature water. You always see me drinking water. I'm going to end this by saying, I notice that people don't look at each other in the eye. So it doesn't take a lot to impress me from a man. If somebody looks at you in the eye, and let's say if you go to a park, right? If somebody skateboards, I'm like, let's go skateboard. That would be an ideal date if they skateboarded, because I would have so much fun. If somebody wants to go to some, I'm not intimidating. That's just perception of reality. You're getting what you see on the internet. And I am strong, but I'm also very soft, and it takes certain situations to show that softness. A live broadcast would not be that platform, that situation. So somebody who is kind, if somebody's very kind to me, I will nurture them to the end of time. I want people to feel special. I want them to feel good. When I do my consultations, I want people to get off, because I have people crying. They've got cancer, they've got scabs all the way down their body because they have eczema so bad. And they'll start off, there was a man, he starts describing the pain in his arms from really bad eczema. And in 2 seconds into his describing of the eczema, he starts crying, and I had to hold back the tears. So I'm very empathic. It doesn't seem like I am, but there's just something really, really special about the true human bond. So I'm going to tell you this really quick story for me. The things in my life that touch the softer side of stuff, which is not a live broadcast stuff, I will never ever forget these stories. I was in Africa. I was in Tanzania, or also called Tanzania. And it's a long story how I got there, but I got there. And my ticket was for 2 months. And I ended up staying in a small village outside of Dar es Salaam, about 40 minutes. And long story short, after being there for about a month, so I had a false positive reading for malaria. I didn't take any medication when I went there. There's mosquitoes everywhere. I started getting sick. I couldn't hold any solid food down, but because I was young and stupid, this is in my 20s. So they're like, you need to go, the people in the village that I had met were like, you need to go to, and the village is called Sinza, by the way. You need to go to the island outside of Zanzibar. You need to go to Zanzibar, and you need to go on a safari. So the Africans cannot afford seeing big game. Elephants, zebras, water buffalo, lions, giraffes, monkeys. They've never seen them their whole life. Safaris cost at that time $100 a day, and you rent a driver, a cook, and the Range Rover. So I could only afford at that time a 3-day safari. So I'm taking a bus, which was a 10-hour bus to the north of Tanzania, and it was called Arusha. And I've got stories on that trip too, people. Like, I met this white couple where they're like, so did they call you Mazungo? And I'm like, no, what's that? They're like, it means like white person, and you don't look African, so they're gonna call you. There's like, no one's ever called me Mazungo once. They called me Dada. Okay, go look that up in Swahili. They call me Mama and Dada, because when you are kind to people, they will be kind back to you. So I was never called Mazungo, not for 2 months. So I was taking a bus. Now, they can't afford these first class buses. The first class bus to Arusha was like 10 hours, but it was a first class bus. They had movies playing in a bathroom, and they had like little stewardesses asking if you want something to eat, like a bus attendant, a flight attendant type of thing, and snacks. And I had all these black hair magazines from England, because I stopped in London and then I came. And I had all these black hair magazines, and she kept walking and looking over my shoulder. And I had these magazines for months, so they were just like, I was looking for an excuse to get rid of them. And she kept looking at them, and I was like, do you want these magazines? And she's like, no. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, no. And I'm like, yeah. And she takes one, and I'm like, all of them. And she begins to cry. And she's just bawling. Thank you so much. You are so kind. Oh, I got more stories on that trip. So that trip changed my life. And so she said, when you arrive to Arusha, they're going to attack you. I'm like, who's going to attack me? She's like, catchers. They work for travel agents, and they're going to want you to go to their travel agent to book the safari. And there's going to be like 20 people like screaming at you. She's like, you're going to bypass that. I'm going to have the driver drop you off at this guest house. I will organize everything for you. You pay up front. I'll organize the food for you. You will meet up with my friend who's got a travel agency, but it'll take you 3 days to book a safari. I was like, 3 days? And she's like, no, you don't just arrive and go the next day. So the point of that particular story was when I see people with nothing, literally nothing, in impoverished countries, I feel like I have it so easy here. So that's the reason why you guys don't hear me complain just about annoying people. I don't complain about my life or how hard I've ever had it, because I have never had it hard. So in the context of, I've been through some stuff, but when I've seen people go through things, that one trip, this little girl, when I went to Zanzibar, and this little 8-year-old girl could speak English. The kids couldn't speak English. I was like, how do you know English? She goes, I read by candlelight. English. I love English. I got pictures of these kids. I'll show you guys one day. She's like, I read English. And one of these pictures is the Messiah here that I took pictures of. That's another story. And she's like, I read English. And I was like, my heart was just like, you know? And then you fly back to the States and you're like, oh, you friggin' selfish children. Oh, okay. Or adults. So the point is that for me, an ideal date isn't like a date. It's just being in a situation with someone who is not sensitive, who wants to share a conversation. No, tell me more about you, Steph. Well, tell me more about you, so-and-so. And you're like, all of a sudden, you start talking about each other's backgrounds and you start going into storytelling. You're like, oh, that happened to me too. And then you laugh. You might make a joke about it. A person's very kind. They're very soft. If they touch your arm, they do it in a gentle way. People don't have to open my door and all that kind of stuff. They don't have to pay for something. But just that kindness, that eye contact, that... like, I don't really need to talk about myself because I know who I am. I'd love to get to know who you are. And then you start talking about yourself and you kind of feel embarrassed because you're like, oh, I'm talking a lot about myself. So it's that type of first date where someone is selfless and interested in who you really are, but with a sense of humor. You don't have to be a mental giant, right? Because if you're open to learn, that's all that matters to me, because people are not going to come perfectly ready in a box with a bow on it, pretty ready to go. They're going to come with flaws. You got to find a common bond. You got to agree. You got to communicate. And so, you know, some of the relationships I've had in the past where a guy was depressed, I didn't understand bipolarism and depression before, so I'd be very confused because I never felt depressed. I never felt like I didn't want to get out of bed. I'm like, let's go! So for me today, having a conversation when somebody, if they don't know something, they're like, well, you know, what is keto? You know, why did you do it? How did you get into skateboarding? Now, these are things that somebody's very complimentary. Wow, I really think it's great that you were able to, you know, do something with your mom and then make a career out of it, helping other people. That's really impressive. And then you're like, wow, thank you for that acknowledgement. Like, I met yesterday with this woman who found me on the internet, who sort of works as a PR person, and she works in television. She's like, what are you doing, Stephanie? She's like, you're amazing. You should be charging more. You should be doing more. Like, you're wasting all of this. She kept saying, you have all this knowledge. You need to give it to the world. And we, at the end of talking, we're standing in the parking lot, and she had just come from work. So she was in skirt and heels. And she stood there freezing her butt off because I had a jacket on. And she kept reiterating how special I was. And I said, let me give you another hug because I want to hold on to this moment and not take it for granted 1 second that I never hear this. Not from people like a foot away from me. I hear very positive affirmations on the internet, but the people around me are very bizarre. So The ideal date is just somebody who can look at you in the eyes, who's not afraid. They keep that eye contact. They are very tactile. They understand if there's a connection or a disconnect. Because I have dating stories that are just like, and I know all of us women do, but I'm so specific with humanity, the humanness. You know, I am strong. Somebody said to me, or the woman said yesterday, she said, but your kind of fit is like really, really fit. Like, that's not attainable. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm older than you are. I have more injuries than you have. Okay? I was on crutches for 4 years with an infection in my leg. And if I tell you the story, which I'll do in another video, on how I broke my leg and how it was dangling at the skin at the joint, you'd want to throw up the way the joint broke. And I told her that that to build back my legs has taken me years. I don't care if it takes 50 years. I will sit with a little hammer and a chisel, ding, 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 my way to the health that I want, period. I will not complain. I will not say it's hard. I will not say that the food is boring. I will find a way. And that's what I notice from people, that they are so triggered and so sensitive and give up way too quick. And that is why only 5% of people remain ketotic, like for the long haul. Because people are so sensitive in this culture. So when you see a little girl learn how to read English by candlelight, and she's like, my mother says, blow out the candle. I'm like, oh. Or when a person is crying because you give them magazines. Or I stayed in Egypt with this girl whose mother died and I didn't even know her. And we're in our 20s and her mother dies. And I'm like, So I'm going to build my legs up, have no cellulite, get the most strength that I can, build this body, right? This is not genetics. This, see that? See that? I built that. That was flat as a board. You know what that looked like before? With all those surgeries? That's what it looked like. And I got the pictures to prove it. I had no glutes. I had no hamstrings. You could squeeze my legs and it would mush out to nothing. And I was like, okay. When I realized after 10 surgeries that my legs were destroyed, I was like, oh, okay. What can I do otherwise? Because I can't be the person I once was. So I'm going to make myself better than I ever was. Because I'm going to make myself better, stronger, faster, and more beautiful from the inside out. And that's what we're losing in this society. No, Erica, we are pretty much very similar. We have a complex endocrine system that reacts to stress, blue light, trauma, gut dysbiosis, low serotonin, low dopamine. We're all the same. And that's the reason why we see a lot of similar affectations in society. So it is the perception of reality that dictates your response to it. Your perception of reality dictates the response. Now, you might have low testosterone, you might have andropause, which affects the mind, right? You might have too much dihydrotestosterone. That might affect the way your synapses work. You might have too much glucose in the brain. That might affect the way the synapses might work. But at the end of the day, in this country, you can prevail. We don't have any war here. We don't go hungry. And we can fight disease. And there are programs to help us. So it doesn't matter, you know, this situation where this woman died. I was like, when my mother had the glioblastoma, I was like, I'm ready for her to die. I'm ready. I'm ready. Because I went through that thing with that girl in Egypt when I was in my 20s. And it was one of the most earth-shattering, profound situations I'd ever been through. And that's another story, that whole thing where her mother died. So, you know, 30 years later or 25 years later, um, actually it was more like 20 to 18 something years later, when my mother was supposed to die, I was ready. I'm ready. My mother would say, when I die, I don't want one drip of snot. I don't want one tear, okay? Because I've had a good life. My mother would say this to me. My kids are smart. My kids are healthy. My life is good. So when I die, you are not gonna sit and you fall apart. You live your life. So my mom made it very easy for me to accept death as well. But she didn't die. She's still around, bugging the crap out of me. um, but I think I've talked again for a long time, and I hope these stories. No, I don't hate death talk. Death is a part of life. Death is a part of life. We're all gonna die. And once you become unafraid of that. Now, my mom often talks about dying, especially recently. I'm like, Mom, be quiet. Not time to talk about death because you are not sick right now. Let's talk about life. But if my mom's glio began to explode and it was like this time she wouldn't survive it, oh, you enjoy story time. Thank you, Brice. If someone close to me were to die, then I'm ready because I understand that death is a part of life. And when you live in an impoverished, war-torn country, they're so used to death, they have rituals to be able to move on. We cannot move on. You comprehended my mom passed it. Was heart-wrenching. I enjoyed you stuff. Thank you, Alicia. Death is natural. We got to accept it. Then only you will live your life to its fullest. Stop complaining. I don't know if people are complaining, but I think they've become very emotionally triggered. Instead of being upset of death, we should be grateful and happy for the times. Exactly. I mean, if I died tomorrow, I've had some tough things happen, but I am so fortunate. Really though? Like really? Like really? We just got to look at stuff differently. So, I try myself to not be triggered on things. It's glitching. If I am triggered on something, I can very quickly catch myself in, habitual pattern thinking. So thank you guys. No, I mean, I've had sort of like, I had an internet troll. When I first got on the internet, it was the first time I ever felt anxiety. There was a crazy, I've had some, y'all, I've had some crazy stalkers on the internet. No joke. And I didn't understand the internet. So, this woman was lying about me. Every time I had a podcast interview, she would say that my mother never had cancer, my family hates me, and then she would start making up a ton, like I'm anorexic and I vomit all the time. But she did worse things than that. That's the easiest stuff she did. And she hammered me for, I don't know, like 2 years. And then, so that really stressed me out so bad that's when I did a video saying I popped out of ketosis because my anxiety was high. I've also had a stalker here in LA. That was pretty hardcore. That had nothing to do with keto. But no, anxiety, no, I'm good. I have made my peace. I have evaluated. I'm good. It takes a lot to really make me, like, I'm fiery. I'm sassy. I am sassy, okay? I got an attitude, I got an ego, and you can push that button. But as soon as I get mouthy and sassy, there's this little voice going, Steph, who cares? So that's what I've learned at this juncture in my life. So I feel like I'm able to keep the stress down by a switch goes on, and all of a sudden I just disconnect from whatever I was triggered from. You know what I'm talking about, Keto Princess, cool. Thank you. You love my spirit. Gina is a Jedi. Yeah. You never are going to be perfect. I'm a sassy girl. I don't take anything. I've been in fights. People are like, "Oh, you're a boxer." I'm like, "Stop saying I'm a boxer. I'm very girly. I'm girly. What are you talking about? But yeah, like, yo, yeah, I've been in some fights when I was younger. I haven't punched anyone in, I don't know, 20 years. But 20 years ago, I did. Yeah. So it's when you have this duality, right? Very, very soft, sensitive person who's very connected to humanity and is very empathic. And then you have this side, like, if you mess with me, you're going to have it. Like, this girl she starts doing stuff to me at the gym a week or so ago. I said, little girl, trust. I am the wrong person you want to bleep with. Okay? You don't want to mess with me. Trust. And she saw that in my face, right? Because she kept antagonizing me. I was like, okay. And she just kept going. I was like, and I just looked at her. Anyway, what makes a person anxiety crippled? Jay, a lot of people have a dysbiosis of the gut, so their gut flora is imbalanced. And this is definitely connected to the brain. So you have a vagus nerve that goes from the brain all the way down to the digestive tract. But often anxiety comes from too much adrenaline production, which happens when your body's out of whack. So you can skip meals, drink caffeine. Certain things will trigger blood sugar dysregulation, dysbiosis of the gut, which is directly connected to your adrenals that start overfiring. And that overfiring of the adrenal starts messing with the amino acids in the brain and the synapses. And then your serotonin drops. And when you don't have enough serotonin, you don't feel balanced. Serotonin is the hormone that makes you feel like, okay, I've been through stress, but now I'm rebalanced. So a lot of people have a dip in serotonin because they have blood sugar dysregulation, and then they have gut dysbiosis, and it just goes, everything gets out of whack, and they can't control the anxiety. So you have to start doing things like healing the gut. You have to mind the foods that drop the serotonin, and start to do other like meditative practices and breathing practices that help intensify the central nervous system, because you have the central nervous system plus the gut biome plus these synapses, and you're not having enough serotonin dopamine response, and you're not having enough amino acids. You know, you start having like L-tyrosine issues and all this kind of stuff. The girl that's a story when you're like, what's the girl, what was she antagonizing me about? But I was on a machine that she wanted, and it was just like, she came up, she's like, how many do you have left? I'm like, I have just 3. I'll do it really quick. And I decided to do one more, like a 4th set. And she starts yelling at me. She starts yelling at me, you said 3. Bam, 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 bam. And then she called me a biatch. And I was like, and she just kept going. I was like, no, I might be petite, but you don't want to mess with me. Okay? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope. Because I tried to speak to her in a kind way. I was like, if you would just talk to me with respect, this would be not a problem. But she kept going at me with names, right? I was like, I could flatten you in a second. Like, I could just go like this, and you'd be flattened to the ground. So, you know, I will Jedi mind trick you to the point. No, do not. You're welcome, braces. I know I need to get off. Petite hands fast. Yeah. Let's put it this way. In my youth of being a skateboarder, guys would try to hurt me. So you learn how to protect yourself in dangerous situations. I've been in some situations where I'm the only girl and guys have tried to do stuff. And, So that's why I'm so tough. Plus my mother, she was tough as nails. I'll have like a mother, my mother thing, because my mother was a type of mother was just like, oh no, my mother was tough. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. See how tough I am? You don't know my mother. No, no, yeah. No, what'd you say? Wouldn't want to mess with you. Oh, you're sweet as hell. But you are scary when you're angry. I'm never angry, Septira. No, 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 no. Totally wrong perception of me. Oh, it's getting dark in here. I'm never angry. I am sassy. I'm not angry. I'm sassy. I got attitude. You know, my mouth starts popping off. But there's a voice always in the back of my head. A 50-year-old woman's voice. So no, I'm never angry. Nothing in life is worth anger unless somebody's hurting a family member. There's nothing to be angry about. Literally. I can be annoyed, but I'm not angry. All right, guys. If anybody has not liked up the stream, I would love some likes because it helps to get more viewability. And Badger, I've cut out coffee and life seems, what is it? Glorious. Was it glorious? Glorious? Colorless? Oh, colorless. My bad. It's getting dark in here. Colorless. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. Girls do hit hard. You know, yeah, that's a whole nother subject. There's a lot of stories going on there, but I haven't fought in a long time. I have a back tattoo. Yes, I have this one on my shoulder. I'm actually gonna get rid of it, even though it's very symbolic. I've had it since I was like 20, and it's time for it to go. And I just have the one back tattoo, clean on the front, tattoo on the back. That tattoo is awesome. I know you guys never see what it is, and I will show you what it is up close soon. You'll see it is a dope tattoo. From a distance on the internet, it looks like a black blob, but up close, it's fabulous, fabulous. So thank you guys for tonight's broadcast. Nah, I've never been a person who's liked taking any type of that type of stuff. I can't say the words because they'll like demonetize me. Good night, Septira. Thank you so much, and thank you the other day for the positive whatever super chat stuff. Thank you everyone who stayed through all the storytelling. These are my hardcore supporters, because I know a lot of you guys pop in because you want to hear the keto stuff, and then I get bored and want to talk about something else. So thank you for listening to Storytime. If other people on the internet can go into Storytime, why can't I? I want to do that too. I don't want to just be all science all day long. Bye, Jordan. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, Ellie. Thank you for all your videos and live chats. I'm not trying to do keto, but I learned a lot from y'all. You know what? I love that. I just want to put it out there. You don't have to do keto, you guys, because I love talking about the body as a whole, not just like a keto body. You never heard me just pushing keto. So I really just want people to learn more about their body itself and to be strong here and here. So thank you. Perfect start to the morning. Thank you, and thank you again, Jordan, with the big caps. Thank you. Okay, guys, have a fantastic evening or morning. This girl is out. I probably will not live stream tomorrow. I should probably take a couple days off. So thank you for anyone who's stuck in so long. So good night. Bye, guys. I checked if your circadian rhythm, Tiffany. I know, because it's 8 o'clock here. I haven't even eaten yet. It's so bad. But look, this is keto. I had breakfast. I had those, you know what? That butter. You see what hyped me up? Yo. It's 11 in Pennsylvania. Yo. I haven't had like a whole meal since like 5:45 in the morning. It's over 8 o'clock and I am boop, right? Don't forget, you guys, to go to my Instagram, which is Stephanie Ketogenic. Follow me there because I feel like everything's short there. I don't have to talk so long. It's 11:08 here. You must be on the East Coast, Ellen. Good night, Mandy. Or you can go to my Facebook, which is Stephanie the Business Person, or you can sign up for my keto course, which my manager is saying that is so cheap. It's a membership. It's a course site. And it's called whatever on my site. It's called the Keto Course on my website. Sign up and then boom. And you can do it for a month or you can do it longer. I just want to remind people of that because I'm such a bad businesswoman. Eat about 2 pounds of meat a day. That's too much meat. And that's a real strain on your kidneys. And that is not a joke. That is not a joke. That is not a joke. You better be careful. Okay, those kidneys, those tubules, Tubules, those things are sensitive, okay? Do not eat 2 pounds of meat a day. Trust. That's really not healthy. So, with that said, let me get off this stool. And I'm drooling. I'm thinking about my food. Thank you, guys. Look at this light. This is the light that is the bomb light, right? The daylight makes me look puffy, and the night light makes me look shredded. Look at that. Love me the night light. Light. I love this nightlife for people who are so like into their aesthetics, which I am for about 5 minutes a day because who cares about the rest? I just like a smile from someone. But yeah, this is good nightlife. Okay, guys, thank you. For those who haven't liked up the stream, give me a like or please give me a like because that helps me get more viewability. And I really appreciate the people who've been joining me every day on the last 5 or 6 broadcasts. So thank you guys. I hope this information served you well and how to get in more fat to become ketotic because those who do not eat at least 200 grams of fat tend to have their ketones too low. Get up the fat until you don't need to have the fat that high. All right, guys, and make sure that you can digest the fat. And no one can ever eat too much fat because the signals in your brain, because LCTs are so hard, so long, not hard, long to digest, your body will be like, okay, I'm done. So people will never go infinite amounts of fat. So don't believe the hype like Public Enemy says. Bye, guys. That's what's up. You see that? That's what's up. Boom. I'm out. Another great broadcast. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Akua. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. And you see, just like my photography, there are many shades of Cray Cray Stephanie. Like, I am all over the place, but thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Floppy. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much, guys. Be looking out. You guys see I'm trying to do more broadcasts, but I think I need to take a couple days break because I'm not writing my book when I'm doing this broadcast.